You're tuned in to Nerd Overload, your weekly show for video games, movies, TV shows, comics, tech news, and more. Now your hosts, Cody Pennick, Samantha Cross, Sam Dunham, and Josh Harrison.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerd Overload, the pop and geek culture show that's for good little boys and girls of all ages. I'm Cody.
I'm Sam.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Samantha.
Oh boy, we have a great show for you this week. Thank you all for tuning in. We have a bunch of news to go over, but first, let's talk about some things we have been checking out.
Let me get through the Outer Worlds first.
Okay, let's talk about
I'm very
Outer Worlds.
excited about the Outer Worlds.
Yeah, let's
Calm
do it.
down.
You can't contain yourself.
I know. It's a new game by Obsidian, the people who made Fallout New Vegas. Mm-hmm. And it is very much in the vein of that. It's that kind of, I don't know, open world's not really the right word, but an RPG with a lot of dialogue choices and gun shooty in space, in kind of a weird Western colony space where everything's run by corporations and they're out of control.
It looks like it has like almost like a 50s aesthetic, like 50s retro sci-fi aesthetic kind of.
Kind of. Sometimes it goes a little older than that too, like a Wild West company town.
Oh, okay,
kind
cool.
of thing.
Yeah.
Definitely has some things to say about capitalism.
I've heard that. Yeah. I've heard that this game is also, it's Fallout, but it works. Like it's not a broken game like most Fallout games.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any like glitches or anything. I mean, it very much is in that exact same vein as the Bethesda Fallout and Elder Scrolls.
I mean, Obsidian is Bethesda's like side kind of company kind of thing.
They used to be. They don't.
Yeah.
Bethesda got real jealous when people liked New Vegas more than their Fallout games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, New Vegas was a good game.
It was. That's the thing, is like this game has good writing. Like the writing is very good, the story is very compelling, and all the characters are interesting, and it works.
Yeah, see, that's the biggest thing. It works.
Like the one thing I've noticed about Obsidian games, when they're allowed to actually work on something without too much interference, they make generally pretty good games.
Yeah. They're,
I like Knights of the Republic 2, but you could definitely tell where the interference was.
Yeah. And Alpha Protocol.
Oh, yeah.
That game is actually really good if you can get past the kind of blemishes it has. It's a really compelling, like, spy adventure. But Outer Worlds is so good. I have actually already finished it.
Wow.
I've heard it's not very good, but it has a lot, or not very good.
What? Wait, what?
Not very long.
I played it about 24, 25 hours total, it said.
But it has it's got enough substance to it that it feels like it's like you got your money's worth.
Yeah, and I didn't do all the I did all the companion side quests, but I didn't do every single side quest.
Yeah.
And part of me kind of still wants to go back and do those.
Yeah,
too.
and I like that this doesn't have like day one DLC. It doesn't have like an evergreen, at least at the outset, it doesn't have like an evergreen kind of like monetization. It doesn't have loot boxes.
Yeah.
Like it's just the game.
Don't put it out in the universe.
Well, eventually, we know it's going to eventually. But like,
well, they haven't said anything.
No, true. That's a good point.
I would snap up a DLC in a second. So.
Yeah.
I miss the days of companies just putting out games.
A game, yeah. A finished game.
That is, yeah, I agree.
And it does a lot of stuff that the older Fallouts and stuff did that weren't so great. Like when you're in a dialogue, the camera just snaps onto their face and doesn't change angles in any kind of interesting way.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's not like an Old Republic MMO style where it's more like a cinematic versus like just staring at somebody's dead eyes.
yeah, it's definitely just snapping onto their face and looking them in their dead eyes.
Yeah. I also heard this game's really funny. Like it's got a lot of humor in it.
It does a lot of the poking fun at corporate culture and just generally like regularly funny character moments where you get to know the different crew members you get on your ship.
Yeah.
The one that Ashley Birch plays, she's the first one you get and also the best one that you get.
Well, sure, okay, yeah. It's Ashley Birch.
Yeah,
of course.
She's just like a good-hearted, kind of naive mechanic girl that just wants to do right by everybody. And is also an asexual lesbian.
Oh,
yeah.
Or at least bisexual.
I think I read an article about that.
her whole companion quest is hooking her up with one of the head mechanics on one of the colony ships.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you go around and you get her like different stuff to give to her on a date, and like it's really cute and fun.
But she's not interested in her like in a physical way. It's like definitely like a romantic way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
And they talk about how she's going to deal with that and what the other lady's going to think and how should she approach it. And it's just the writing is so good.
See, that's excellent. That's really cool.
You can even tell her, yeah, I'm that way too.
Huh.
Which I did because there's no romance option in the game, so it kind of made the most sense.
Yeah. So why not? Okay. Yeah.
I mean, at least you're not like Commander Shepard and like, just laying out a bed of roses across the galaxy.
Where are the blue women at? But yeah, don't go into the Outer Worlds thinking it's going to reinvent the wheel, but do go in there expecting a well-written Fallout-style experience in space.
That works.
I love games that just kind of come out of almost nowhere and just like sweep of being like held up like, man, this game was really, really good.
Yeah. Because there wasn't really much hype for this, like,
not
prior
really
to its release. I mean,
like
I heard about it, but
I saw a trailer for it from E3 last year, and the idea of it had me slightly excited. I was like, oh, that looks cool. And then I kind of forgot about it for a while. And then really close to when it was getting ready to get released, I started seeing ads for it again. I was like, oh, yeah, that game. Then I kept confusing it with the other sort of...
the Outer Wilds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of unfortunate for the Outer Wilds, really.
Yeah.
Well, both, really. Because
both.
you get confused on which one.
Both of them are supposed to be really good.
Outer Wilds, from what I've seen, is really good, too.
It's just a completely different space sci-fi game.
I played it and it kind of bounced right off of it, and I need to go back and give it another shot, I think. And the normal mode might be a little too easy also.
Oh, really?
Like once you level up and you get a gun that you've tinkered out to be super powerful, like I walked through the last 2 hours of the game with my corrosive pistol.
Melting people's faces off.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
It does have like a super hard difficulty where like you have to sleep and you have to eat and drink.
Oh wow,
it's like a Fallout survival mode.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, and it doesn't sound any fun.
Like this game sounds like it scratches the right kind of itches for me as far as like gameplay and thematics.
Just get Game Pass.
Yeah,
you can get it for $1. You can play through this game in a couple weeks. Not that you shouldn't buy the game because it's really good.
Yeah, support the developer.
Support the developer. But if you're really chomping at the bit to get at this game and you don't got the money, that is a great option.
Especially since you can use Xbox Game Pass on a computer.
Yeah,
that's right.
And honestly, Game Pass is super worth it. It's only $15 and you get it on PC and Xbox.
Oh, that's not bad.
And like, I think I've owned an Xbox One for, 6 months now, and I've bought one game for it because of Game Pass. And it was a used copy of Rare Replay, which was later added to Game Pass anyway. Like, it's totally worth the $15. It's a really cool service.
Huh.
I haven't played with the PC stuff because my computer sucks, but I'm sure that's probably pretty good too.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right, well, hey, let's move on and let's talk about a thing that Cody. This is something that, and Samantha, we watched this, not like together, but like we watched it.
No, they don't need to know that.
Well,
we can think we all watched it together.
We could, you know what? I take that back. We all watched it together.
Spirit.
We did, yeah, exactly. So there was a movie that came on Netflix here, a week or two ago. I think it was
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, called Dolemite Is My Name, and it is a like a semi-fictional, semi-biographical film about Rudy Ray Moore, a stand-up comedian and blaxploitation superstar with his persona Dolemite, starring Eddie Murphy. We talked about the announcement for this about a month or two ago.
Oh yeah, we went real deep. On it then.
Yeah, and we're gonna go real deep on it again because that movie's amazing.
Yeah, it lived up to everything I hoped it would be. And more.
Same, yes. So a little bit of history. We've known about Rudy Ray Moore for a little while, I'd say.
I want to say like my entire friendship with you guys.
Yeah. I mean, we found the Human Tornado in high school, didn't we? So
I remember us all watching it in your basement.
Yes.
Maybe more than once.
Maybe more than multiple times. Yeah. And it was it's interesting because it's kind of like Shaft. It's in that vein of blaxploitation films, but the twist is it's also a comedy, and part of it is intentional comedy. Part of it's not.
Yeah.
Most of it's not.
This movie reminded me a lot of The Disaster Artist, but a lot better.
There's a good reason for that. Well, it actually reminded me a lot of Ed Wood, and
Yeah.
that's because the producers and writers from Ed Wood, the Tim Burton,
not Tim Burton, but the other people that were on
right,
Ed Wood.
the other ones, yeah, they wrote and produced this one as well, and it was, it hits just about every major story beat, and there isn't like a lot of adversarial kind of conflict. There's no conflict in the movie really. It's just kind of Rudy Ray Moore starting from, and it picks up like pretty, I don't want to say late in his life, but like he's middle aged by the time the movie starts. It's not like a race situation or anything like that. Like
Where it goes through like his early life and all that whatnot.
Right. Like the movie opens, he's working in a record store. He's already been in the USO, and he's been a dancer and an MC, and it's when he creates the Dolemite persona.
It's basically when he hits his stride.
It really hits his stride.
Well,
and
he wouldn't want it to go into his past.
Yeah.
Because he didn't like talking about
he
his
was
past.
very guarded. It was probably the
to-
only like serious part of the movie is him, like the couple of points where he goes, "Yeah, I don't talk about my history with
Yeah.
anything." And
But they hint at it
They-
just enough.
just
that it gives
enough.
The movie that dramatic oomph.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes it carry more than a Disaster Artist does.
But so the movie goes through his creation of the Dolemite character, and his rise to fame, creating under like records, comedy records that he would have to sell under the counter of his record store
Or out of the trunk of
or
a
the
car.
trunk of his car.
Yeah.
Him going on the road, him discovering Lady Reed, which I knew a little bit about, but I guess I didn't realize it was, and I mean, part of it might have been partially fictionalized, but like I didn't realize that, he pretty much found and helped create her career. And it ends with him going through and creating the movie, and it ends at the premiere for his movie.
For Dolemite Is My Name.
For Dolemite.
Yeah.
Although, if...
That's right, Dolemite Is My Name is the
They
line.
use
They
clips
use
from
from
Human
Human
Tornado
Tornado.
almost exclusively.
Yeah, because Human Tornado is the comedy. Dolemite was he was trying to make a serious
film.
Human Tornado was the comedy.
Oh, like Kegel, Mike, and Key as the
yeah.
writer for
Yeah,
that movie.
so good.
He's so funny.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great. Wesley Snipes is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
As the super ego
he almost
maniac.
stole the show
He
from
really
Eddie
did.
Murphy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Eddie Murphy is also just fantastic in this movie.
You know what? He's doing a riff on Rudy Ray Moore without being fully Rudy Ray Moore, because he's Eddie Murphy. You're not gonna, I mean, no matter how immersed, like how much he gets into the role, you're not gonna look at him and go, "Oh wow, I didn't realize that was Eddie Murphy." No.
But he plays Rudy Ray Moore without making him into a cartoon character,
Yes.
which would have been so easy to do.
It's difficult because Rudy Ray Moore was himself
cartoon
a
character.
cartoon
Yeah.
character. Like it's like a believable like there's just the slightest touch of like magical realism to this movie, but it's almost completely like realistic. And from the stuff, digging that I've done into Rudy Ray Moore, outside of the film, it was pretty close to the way it kind of happened. I mean, he had a little bit more, it was a little more serious, he was maybe a little more egotistical when it came to things. I mean, they kind of present Rudy Ray as like everyone's best friend who's just trying to put on a show, but
He's the Kermit the Frog.
he really is.
Of that.
You know what? It really is like the Muppet Show, kind of, a little bit. Like,
Oh yeah, when they're shooting the movie and there's so many different people. They're the college kids that are
college
doing
kids.
the cinematography
and they got that exactly right with the Dumar Hotel. He lived in that rundown hotel. Like he eventually used the money from the films and converted it into like his own living quarters and stuff.
Wesley Snipes is Miss Piggy.
Yeah, yeah, he really is. It's perfect. It's perfect. But if you have Netflix and you have even a passing, interest in like biographical films that just make you feel good by the end of it. It's funny. There's a lot of swearing.
It wouldn't be a Rudy Ray Moore movie.
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay, speaking of the genre in which and everything the of that man.
Yeah. Yeah, you could.
Is there a lot of nudity?
His oeuvre.
There's a bit of nudity.
There's a little bit of nudity.
There's enough. It's I wouldn't say tasteful, but it's there.
I was so like the actual films.
Yeah.
There's probably more nudity in a Dolemite movie than there is in this movie.
one, but it wouldn't be true to the source material if there wasn't.
That's why I was asking.
The scene when they shoot the sex scene in the movie is hilarious.
That's great. It's super good.
Yeah.
And I liked at the end what reminding me of you and me of the Disaster Artist. How at the end they rolled some shots of the Dolemite movie.
Yeah.
And it was really shot for shot some of the scenes that they did.
See, that's like my favorite thing when they do like a kind of like a behind the scenes semi mockumentary on things when they like line it up almost exactly like with the original work.
That was 80% of what the Disaster Artist was.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I like that movie, but it doesn't have the heart that this movie does.
It doesn't, and that's because it was a James Franco picture.
It was too much James Franco yucking around with his celebrity buddies, and it felt like it was a little bit at Wiseau's expense in a not cool way.
Yeah, they were poking fun at Wiseau a little bit,
which is weird
they're not poking fun at
because James Franco like really loves The Room and uses every chance he get to show people The Room.
Yeah,
you think he would have been a little more honorific of it, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, it's hard to. He's such a weird guy anyway. Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess it would be hard to not kind of make fun of him.
Well, yeah. But no, seriously,
it's not mean to Wiseau, but I think they could have
done it better.
More heart to it.
It was missing the heart that Ed Wood and Dolemite Is My Name definitely has. And so if you have Netflix, I highly and you're not like
and you can handle
can handle a little bit of stuff.
You can handle a hard R.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
A boob.
You can handle a boob and
a couple of F-bombs. Yeah. I would highly recommend it. It is a trip. It's hilarious. Okay, so I actually did a bunch of stuff. So I'm actually cutting out a lot of the stuff that I was going to talk about. So Halloween was a couple weeks ago, and I mean I know you guys have a couple of scary movies, right?
I got one.
You got one.
Oh, we watched
I got
Hereditary.
one, and you got Hereditary. Okay.
Heredity. Is it Heredity or Hereditary?
I think it's Hereditary.
Okay.
I mean, I think
it's Hereditary.
Yeah. I'll do mine real quick, and then you guys can talk about yours. So I watched a bad movie called Rock and Roll Nightmare.
That sounds really familiar.
We very well may have watched it. It's a riff tracks. They did a riff tracks of it. So it is basically the story of this.
That tells you everything you need to know.
Basically,
they did a riff tracks.
Yeah, it's a bad movie, but there's a reason why it's a bad movie. So the whole story is this 80s hair metal band goes out to this secluded country cabin, which is by a highway because that's where they could film it. To record their first album because the barn has been converted into a recording studio, and demons and monsters pop up and start taking out the band one by one, and it is laughably bad, and at points it's almost a straight up comedy, and you're going through the movie going, oh man, this is a slog, this is terrible, until the last 10 minutes when you find out that was entirely on purpose. Because the lead of so it gets down to the very end, and I'm a little scatterbrained on this. The movie was starring and partially written by a actual 80s metal guy named John Michael Thor. His real name is John Michael Thor. He was a former Mr. Canadian bodybuilder who got into doing metal, and his whole stage shtick was he wears medieval cosplay and fights monsters on stage,
like a guard,
kind of like a guard, a proto guard. So it gets down to the very end. John Michael Thor, because who cares what his actual character in the movie's name is? He's John Michael Thor, is the only one left, and the head monster, the head demon, Bub. They just call him Bub because he's Beelzebub. But they just call him Bub. He shows up and goes, "You're the only one left, and we're gonna take your soul." He goes, "No, you haven't killed anyone. I am an angel, and I've created all these people to draw you out." And then he turns into a hair metal angel and starts fighting this giant puppet for the last 10 minutes. And the whole point of the movie is that it was a bad horror movie on purpose as a ruse to draw out the devil so that this heavy metal bodybuilder man could punch a puppet for 10 minutes. It was amazing and horrible, and I love it. It's everything that I want from bad horror movies. It's It's amazing. The twist is just outstanding. And it's, you know, both purposely bad and also unintentionally bad, like a Dolemite movie kind of.
Wow. So I just looked up this John Michael Thor guy.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, show him.
Let me see. Oh, yep, that's about what I pictured.
Yeah, that's about it. Yep. All right. So, but that was it. Rock and Roll Nightmare. You can find it online for like $1. I actually think it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
I
Okay.
think.
I think you can get the riff tracks on
Yeah.
Amazon Prime too.
Yeah.
Which
Man,
now I kind of want to watch.
He looks like he'd be a part of like Manowar
He
or
kinda-
something like that.
Yeah. But no, it's pretty great.
I kind of like Manowar
Yeah,
though.
there's actually a documentary that I haven't been able to find called I Am Thor, which is about how he got screwed up. He was, you know, doing touring in the 80s and got screwed over by his manager and lost all of his money and
Like
tried
a-
to come back in 2012 or 2013 after he like gained 200 pounds and like he's now this dumpy guy trying to relive his stuff. Like
heyday.
one of his shticks back from the 80s was that he would bend a steel bar with his teeth on stage.
Wow.
And like he would take hot water bottles, like the hard, thick rubber ones, and blow them up and explode them just by blowing into them on stage.
Man, I remember when I was a kid. I remember some guys coming to my school and doing like a thing like that. Like,
Yeah.
like tearing
they-
like phone books in half.
But
Tearing
they
phone
did it
books and
for
stuff.
they did it for Jesus.
Yeah.
I
I
remember those guys.
I can't remember if it was like a religious thing, but I remember like it was supposed to be like a motivational thing.
Yeah. Well, this is the documentary is this guy going back out on tour
Okay.
and trying to do some of this stuff and like going to clubs where there's like 12 people there and like, but you know, kind of an underdog kind of story.
Yeah.
But I haven't been able to find it. I've been wanting to find it.
Talk about Hereditary real quick. We can't really say it's one of those movies where you can't talk about it without spoiling it.
I mean,
Like-
yeah, talk about yours because yours kind of connects to mine.
Okay, but it is so good and so scary and
Oh,
so real and so raw.
It takes a turn, like maybe 15
It was
minutes
made by the
in.
same guy who made the Witch, right?
no, and it's hard to talk about without spoiling.
Yeah.
like
okay.
literally.
But you would
like-
recommend it?
Oh yes.
Well, I mean, not if you're squeamish.
Oh yeah, definitely not if you're squeamish. Like,
Yeah.
If you don't like horror movies, no.
and the acting is so good that
That's part of it.
It feels real. Like the people react to situations in realistic ways, which is not something you see in a lot of horror movies. And it's about grief and family issues and just see this
Okay.
movie.
Yeah.
Like
Gotcha.
it was the one we rounded out. We watched it on Halloween and it was
nice.
perfect.
Nice. Perfect.
Like really sliding into home base on that one.
Yeah, so I'm like, I want to watch a good one, and I know this one is going to be good, and it was.
Good.
So I watched a horror movie, kind of call it a horror movie. I mean, it kind of is, called The Lighthouse.
I read about what goes on in the lighthouse and
It involves mermaids.
yeah,
Well, sort of.
think about those beans, huh?
So The Lighthouse is a movie, and it actually is the second movie sort of based on the same incident, kind of. The other movie was also called The Lighthouse, and that came out in 2016. But this movie was made by the people who made The Witch,
Which is a very good movie.
or
also.
The Vitch.
The
whatever.
Vavitch.
The bitch.
This movie it's a horror movie, but it's more of like a psychological kind of film. It's all done in black and white. It's actually shot with old equipment on old film. It's shot with a certain lens, like an old style lens that actually makes the whole movie go square. Like it's
Oh, it
not
does
like-
4x3?
Yeah, it's not a white, and it was shot on 30 millimeter film.
35
Yeah.
millimeter?
Well,
Yeah.
I want to pay less for the ticket if it's not going to fill the whole screen. I paid for 16 by 9.
Like everything's black and white. It has like this old feel to it, but it's not an old movie.
Right. Well, this is the one with Willem Dafoe
And Robert Pattinson.
And Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Batman
got
and Green Goblin
It's got Green
live in a
Goblin and Batman
lighthouse.
in it. Yeah, the acting in it is really, really good.
Sure, with both of those actors, I
Yeah,
don't
they're
doubt
both
it.
good actors.
Like
Yeah.
I think this definitely, in my mind, definitely pulls Robert Pattinson away from like other roles he may have been known for.
That guy gets a bad rap.
He really does.
Because he's in Twilight.
Listen,
Yeah.
Twilight sucked, but like everything else the guy's been in, he's
even
been fine.
He hates that movie.
And you know what? He knew he was going to be in a bad movie. Sometimes you got to do a thing for a paycheck.
And he would badmouth it in interviews.
Oh, yeah,
and
he
stuff.
hated
like,
it.
He was
Yeah.
not shy about it.
Oh, he mercilessly mocked that vampire baby
Yeah.
from the last one.
Also, Kristen Stewart gets the same crap.
She gets the same crap, but she's fine. She's a
Yeah.
good actress.
She can be good.
She can be good given the correct
given
role,
the-
and
yeah.
and if she cares about the role that she is in, like this Charlie's
She
Angels.
looks fantastic
She looks great
in Charlie's
that.
Angels.
Yeah.
Honestly, it almost feels like they're two separate people. Honestly,
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, it's because she's allowed to be herself in the Charlie's
Yeah,
Angels.
yeah.
So anyway, the Lighthouse. It feels weird. The music's on point. All the sound is on point. Like if you like old like style films, it definitely feels something like that. It's a very gross movie.
It gets weird.
It gets weird, but also it's just gross.
Uh-huh.
It's set in like I want to say like turn of the century kind of like
That sounds about right.
yeah, it's like like late 1800s, early 1900s kind of thing. The actual incident is kind of based on. I want to say it's only kind of because that incident was completely different than what's in this movie. Honestly, William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson are virtually the only characters you see in the film.
See, that's interesting. I like small like cast kind of films. I think that's really you get really interesting takes and different things when you have a very small limited cast.
Like there are so many weird things going on in this film. It's like you can't it's almost like a Lovecraftian style thing without like his short stories that didn't necessarily have monsters in them. Like you can't tell if it's like
The unknown terror kind of.
it's like is this real? Are they just going crazy? What's the kind of thing going on?
Which does fit in with Hereditary because a lot of that is like, is there something going on or is she mentally ill?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
like there's like a lot of things, and like you kind of get an idea that maybe Robert Pattinson's character is not the most stable person throughout the film because they kind of pull out things like from his past and whatnot of why he's all the way out here at this remote lighthouse kind of thing. Like he did a bad thing. It's kind of hard to really talk. Like again, like with your movie, it's kind of hard to talk about like spoiling all the stuff in it.
All the meaty, juicy bits.
Plus, it's still in theaters, so I mean,
Yes.
people can
Yeah.
still go see
Yeah,
it.
it's-
Okay, I hate to cut you short, but
Yeah, I
we're
know.
getting
I know.
close. Just final thought, and would you recommend it?
I would definitely recommend it for a watch, but maybe not necessarily wait or maybe go to a theater for it. It's definitely one of those ones where you can watch it anywhere really and probably get the same experience out of it.
Okay,
Especially if it's 4:3.
Like
let your old CRT TV.
Yeah, maybe wait till
like
it
I
comes out
said,
on DVD and watch it on
it
a
is
CRT.
it is gross. There's some disturbing imagery in it, so if it's maybe not your thing, maybe skip out on it.
Yeah, because you'd think a movie about two guys stuck in a lighthouse wouldn't get that nasty. But apparently it
here
does.
we are.
Like William Dafoe's character farts so much in the movie. No, I'm dead serious. I am dead. Like from the minute like they get into the lighthouse and they meet, it's just like
All right. Well, hey, with that, let's go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some news.
Hey everybody, we're back. That was Psycho Soldier from the game Psycho Soldier.
Yeah.
The old SNK arcade game. It was the first game to have a song with lyrics in it, I believe.
Yeah. So why don't we play that song, Cody?
Because Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury is in Smash Brothers now.
That's right. Yeah. That he just came. Well, at the recording, we're recording this on Wednesday. He was released today, so he is fresh, super fresh. And we talked about his reveal trailer back. Was it E3 or was it? When was it?
It might have been E3.
there was a direct during the summer or late summer.
Something like that. But no, he's finally out, and we got a chance to play him a little bit. I am excited for Terry Bogard in Smash because
More fighting characters.
more fighting characters. I really like Terry. I like the SNK games.
I mean, you
Yeah.
actually have a Terry costume. So
I do. Yeah.
I've always liked the King of Fighters and Fatal Fury games. I've always preferred them to Street Fighter, honestly.
I see. I like them both for the different things that they do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like the characters for King of Fighters and Fatal Fury better than I do the characters for
yeah. I'll give you that. The characters in the SNK games are more stylish.
Yeah,
for sure.
They look cooler and they do cooler stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember my first like introduction to like King of Fighters, Fatal Fury was an anime movie I saw once.
Oh yeah. They made a couple of those.
Yeah, and it's like one where like Terry fights some guy in like gold armor or something.
Yes.
Who like is a reincarnation or possessed by an old spirit or something.
Yeah, the armor had a ghost in it.
Or something like that.
Something. Yeah. Well, they made a couple of Fatal Fury
I think it might have been the first
games
one or something.
or movies. Yeah. But okay, so Terry Bogard is the main character from the Fatal Fury series.
He's like the Ryu of their series.
He kind of is.
Well, except for the guy that is Ryu.
Except for the guy who is Ryu, and
Yeah.
But he plays so good. Like, it's so smooth. Like, I mean, of course, he's going to play great in a fighting game because he's a fighting game character.
Does his controls kind of go like how like Ryu from Street Fighters is, where it actually is his inputs?
You can put in inputs to get more powerful versions of his special attacks. Yeah. Every, like, attack that he has is referenced from a previous game. Like, everything. So
and he has 2 side B moves.
Yeah,
He's
that's
the only
that's-
character that has
that's kind of the gimmick.
It's
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, and I mean, it's because his special gimmick is not as like great as like the limit break or the limit break or the hero thing.
The hero is nuts, though.
The hero's-
You're not going to get anything that bonkers, I think, again.
Yeah. What I really liked, because they did a like a mini Smash Direct prior to the character being released, and Sakurai, the guy who created Smash Brothers.
The Smash guy.
The Smash guy.
The Smash Man.
Yeah, he
Smash
before
boy.
he was a big time development head for a large video game company, and when he was younger
For his own company.
for his own company, he spent a lot of time in arcades, and he was like an SNK fighter guy. Like he would regularly be like, in amateur tournaments and stuff. Like, you could tell how much love and care he put into the character. And like the Smash Direct, he was introducing. Okay, so Smash Brothers is a fighting game, but it's not really like a traditional fighting game. There's a lot of stuff that's missing from like your Street Fighters or your whatever. That's that's not in Smash.
Yeah, and rules-wise, it's closer to like sumo wrestling. You gotta knock the other player out of the arena to win.
Right. But like Sakurai spent like a good chunk of the 45-minute presentation like explaining various fighting game like mechanics to Smash players who have probably never heard of any of this stuff. Like, he talks about invincibility frames in this.
Canceling.
Move canceling. Like, he took everyone to school a little bit in this, and it was fantastic.
I know you hate anime, but you should really watch High Score Girl.
Probably should.
They talk a lot about that kind of stuff in that show.
Probably should. But but yeah, no, it was great. The only thing, these aren't really complaints because I'm super pumped and stoked for this character, but I wish they would have put a little more care into like put an alternate costume, because one thing with the SNK characters, I mean, the costumes change, because there is a timeline.
Yes.
And eventually he loses like his red vest and ball cap, and he gets just a really cool bomber jacket. And I was kind of hoping that at least one or two of his versions would have that as like a alternate character.
Yeah, I was hoping that his final Smash was going to pull in other characters in kind of like a Mega Man.
Yeah, because I mean, his team is Andy Bogard and Joe Higashi.
Yeah, they should have showed up. And
well, I mean, they do kind of show up in the SNK stage,
which is a really cool stage. I like the mechanics to it. There's invisible walls that you have to break before you can knock the other player out of the stage.
Which is also a reference to Fatal Art of Fighting, or King of Fighters. Was that 98 or 2000 or something like that? So one of them.
I don't know. Yeah,
one of them had invisible walls on the side, so you can do wall bounces and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of side characters that show up in the background and have little animations, except for one glaring omission.
Yeah.
Mai Shiranui is apparently too hot for Super Smash Brothers.
Hey, listen, this is a game for good boys and girls.
Yes, you don't need your skenta-clad ninja girl.
I mean, she invented the video game boob bounce.
Yeah, she did.
She is patient zero for that being in video games.
Yeah, and like, I understand that they were kind of in a position where they either included the character without the bounce, or they did not include it at all. And I don't want to talk about this too much because it's starting to feel real gross. But like
the main point is, if they would have put her in, it would have knocked them from an E10 to a teen rating.
Probably, yeah.
Or they wouldn't have put it in, and people would have been upset because that's kind of her gimmick.
Yeah, so I can see them being like, okay, we're just going to just circumvent the issue completely and just go, she didn't make it.
She's really short. She's just in the background.
Yeah, that's it. But along with the stage and the character, they added a bunch of music. Like
more music than they have for anybody, even the Belmonts, who had a lot of music. Like, this is more than that.
Yeah, I guess the story is Sakurai went to SNK and said, okay, here's a list of 50 songs. Take your pick. He was expecting maybe like they would pick 10 of the songs to be included. And SNK came back to him and said, all right, yeah, sure, 50. Sounds good. And gave them the rights to like do remixes of like all of them.
And not even all of them are from Fatal Fury King of Fighters.
Well, yeah,
there's some Metal Slug one.
There's Metal Slug, the Athena one, that's the one that we played.
Yeah, the Psycho Soldier one.
Soldier. Like just super. They took so much time with this, and it's wonderful. It makes me really stoked for the last one in this pack. The other thing I wish they would do is I wish they would add like more what are they, the trophy fighters, because Joe Higashi would have been a perfect trophy fighter to pop out and do the flying knee and the hurricane upper.
He could have did the same thing that Knuckle Joe does, the Kirby guy.
Yeah,
they could have just remodeled.
They could have done
model
that
on that.
They could have had Geese come in and do a Raging Storm or a double Rapukin.
Geese Howard.
Yeah.
Or just fall off the side of the stage.
Or just fall off the side of the stage and do nothing. Predictable. I love that they use old, like they didn't re-record the voice actor for Terry. They used the clips from like, there's some clips that go back to like 95 in this. And it's like his broken English, like,
Busta Wolf.
Busta Wolf, are you okay?
Hey, come on, let's go!
That's like one of the things I love about like old fighting games
the
that
old
came to America.
It's great. Yeah.
I really wish they would have announced another character, but they didn't.
Yeah, but that's okay. They're probably going to wait for the Game Awards because that's when
Nintendo
they announced.
Usually has at least one thing for the Game Awards.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's probably what they're going to do. So, but that's fine.
We're due for a Nintendo Direct pretty soon too. I'll bet as soon as Pokemon is out the door.
Yeah,
because they don't have anything really to get you psyched up for after Pokemon comes out, so they'll do some announcements then.
Luigi's Mansion's out.
I mean, the next big thing is Animal Crossing, and that's not till March.
Yeah.
So
so they gotta have something for the holiday season, because that's when they make their bank.
Yeah, comes out the same time as Doom Eternal. It turns out.
Yeah.
What?
When Doom got delayed, it got delayed till Animal Crossing's release date.
Oof, I guess two things are gonna die that day.
Hey, cross-promotional DLC, you get little tiny Doom guy.
That'd be awesome. A Doom Marine costume for your Animal Crossing
that
villager.
Would be super good. Or no, just like a villager. Just like a random villager that shows up and it's Doom Guy and he's just super aggro.
Or a Cacodemon.
Yeah, there we go. There's a little floating. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Like, I'm picturing Doom Guy, like, in Animal Crossing, and it's not pretty.
I'm picturing this little chibi version of Doom Guy, and it's amazing.
Yeah. See, he's not violent. He's just, like, very mad.
See, my brain went violent.
Well, of course. No, listen, Animal Crossing is for good boys and girls.
Doom is not.
Doom is not. Oh, hey, speaking of Pokemon, we mentioned it. There is actually a little bit of news about the new Pokemon game. It comes out in less than 2 weeks. Like, it's actually a week from Friday. Like,
yeah.
By the time you're hearing this, it's going to be less than a week.
It's soon.
And there have been leaks galore about Pokemon that are going to be in it. And I mean, I feel kind of bad for Game Freak because like all of their surprises are kind of being, released without their say-so, and it feels kind of grody.
And I don't want to spoil anything on here, but I do kind of want to say I saw the evolutions for the starters.
Yeah, I don't.
And aside from one of them, the other two are bad.
One is patently way better than the other two.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably going to pick one of the other ones because, you know.
I already said I was going to go with the one I'm going to go with, and I'm going to stick with it.
I'm sticking with the one that I wanted to stick with as well.
I mean, I was Grookey day one. That's where I'm going.
Yeah, well, I think one of us just won.
Yeah.
Josh. But no, the news I wanted to talk about. So they leaked amongst all the new ones a list of previously released Pokemon.
Now, granted, this is nothing official from Game
Nothing
Freak.
official from Game Freak, but apparently we knew they were going to remove some of the older Pokemon from the game, and when you have like over 800 before the start of this one. Yeah, I can understand.
There's
it.
a lot.
However, I was not expecting them to remove like 500.
Yeah, they like Thanos snapped all the Pokemon.
They took out more than they kept in.
Ash, I don't feel so good.
Yeah, and like I was kind of bummed out when the news broke a week ago, but I'm kind of coming around. It's like, okay, that's fine. If you want your Pokemon, you can go back and play any of the other games. They're all readily available. And
plus the amount of Pokemon they do have in the game is about the same as any other game.
yeah, and it's not like they aren't going to eventually port the old games to the Switch.
Oh, yeah, they will.
Like, it absolutely will. And honestly, I know Game Freak said that they're not going to do DLC and like patch in other things. They're going to.
Or they'll release Pokemon the third. Actually, they haven't been doing third ones, so maybe not.
Right.
Never mind.
Yeah. What I think they might do is if they eventually like go, okay, we're going to put red and blue or red and green or red and yellow, whatever,
Yeah.
onto the Switch.
Well, they currently already did that with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
Yeah.
Right. But like if they go, okay, all right, in that case, let's go Silver and Gold. Okay. They're going to put the original Game Boy Silver and Gold onto the Switch. And also, we're adding an update to Sword and Shield so that all of Gen 2 can now be moved over and kind of roll it out that way so that people can play the older games to catch what they want, their favorites, and then import them into the new game, and it all works eventually. I kind of see them doing something similar to that, but like out of the box, losing 500, that kind of sucks, but whatever.
I bet they had analytics that said people don't actually do this. People don't actually transfer that many of their Pokemon from game to game, so they won't get mad when we take it out. But
See, that
they
makes
did get mad.
the only thing with that I see is they're also with Sword and Shield. They're going to be releasing that. It's like the updated Pokemon Bank.
Yeah,
they're calling it
Pokemon
someone else. Home. So what
why
is the
do that?
incentive of putting all of your Pokemon from previous games into Pokemon Home where
Yeah.
you can't backwards transport them out? You can only put them forward if you can't put all of those forward.
That sounds like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand
Yeah.
is doing at Game Freak and the Pokemon Company situation.
Yeah. So I mean, you're going to end up, and I mean, I was surprised at some of the ones that they removed. Like,
Oh yeah,
Bulbasaur and Squirtle are not included
Yeah.
in this new game.
no starters are except for Charizard. and Charmander. and-
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird.
My thing is, like, there are a lot of Pokemon, and you know what? There's a very small fraction of Pokemon I actually care about. I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest.
They kept most of the ones you would expect.
They kept a lot of the ones you expect.
I don't know. Bulbasaur and Squirtle both have huge fan followings.
Yeah. I'm really surprised.
Those
at
surprised
that.
me.
I figured most of the original 150 would be in the game,
Yeah.
and they're not.
Mewtwo's not included
Yeah.
in this, which is weird.
Who is a huge fan favorite.
Yeah.
It's just like people like, I want to be the fan of the most powerful one because he's the strongest.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's just weird, and I think they're going to reverse their decision on.
I'm sure
It's going to be a tiered rollout.
they're gonna do something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, there's no worth putting the energy into getting mad about it if this is a true thing, because eventually things are just going to catch up. It's just the way Pokemon has always been.
I don't think I ever transferred a Pokemon between two generations, except for maybe like the original games to Gold and Silver, just to see it happen.
Oh no, I've done it.
I don't think I ever have.
Oh yeah, I was a big fan of the Pokemon Home system because Bank, yeah. I mean, in X and Y, I did it.
Yeah, I remember.
I did the thing. I caught them all.
Yeah,
I did the point of the game. It's kind of hard to catch them all when you can't catch them all.
You can catch them all that
It's
are
just
in
not
the game.
that are in the game. Yeah, that's the caveat. Yeah.
I mean, there's still like over 400 in there. Like you still got
yeah.
your work cut out.
Oh,
for
I
you.
mean, and I'm gonna do it. I mean, I'm a maniac. I'm
I mean,
gonna do it.
I need that long Meowth.
That long boy, it's so good.
But I've seen people online be like, well, just take out the Dynamaxing and put the other Pokemon in
No.
because we don't want that. It's like, that's not how it
That's
works.
not how it works.
That's not how
There
game
always
design
has to be the
works.
new mechanic.
Well, that and a game mechanic doesn't equal 500 Pokemon.
Yeah, it just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Programming does not work that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of hearing people be backseat game designers
Mm-hmm.
over this. It's like, you don't know. You have no idea what it's like.
Have some little thing break
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Well, we moved the models over from the 3DS, and all of them have huge vertices that point out a million miles into the background, and we don't know why. Like, there was a ton of that stuff.
Pokemon T-pose quest.
Yeah.
Just everybody, just arms out, static shot.
There's no way that they all just would easily transfer over.
Oh, no.
That's not how things
That's
work.
not how it works.
That's not how technology and code works.
yeah, yeah.
That's how you get more missing.
Yeah, they all look like missing now. Let's hit BlizzCon real quick while we're in video game
let's
land.
hit BlizzCon. Yeah.
That was last week was BlizzCon, and they announced some stuff and did some I'm sorries.
Some half-hearted I'm sorries.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
we didn't cover this on the show because it's kind of a tough situation.
Pushing
Well, not-
politics pretty hard, and we don't usually get into that as much on this. We
But-
try not to.
But they banned and took the prize money away from a Hearthstone player because they were pro Hong Kong democracy.
Yes.
And Blizzard has a
Blizzard
lot of
Activision-
interest in China.
Yeah.
So
Icky.
yeah.
yeah, and it gets real.
It gets real rough after that.
It gets real weird.
Like,
and
there was all kinds of things. Like
Yeah.
people who work for Blizzard were up and resigning, and it was just a mess.
It's a mess, and I mean, if you want to dig into that, there's plenty of articles online that go into it in way more detail than we could ever. I mean, we could devote an entire show to discussing this,
Yeah.
and I don't think by the end of it we would be any clearer on
It's
the
a-
topic. Honestly,
It's a big dour mess.
yeah, but anyway, so BlizzCon, what were some of the things that came out from that?
Only John Blizzard came out and said, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
And then after that, they announced Diablo 4 is a thing.
Okay. Yeah.
With a trailer.
Yeah, I didn't watch the trailer. Is
It's
it
a
good?
very long cinematic trailer.
So
I mean, it's what Blizzard does. But,
Yeah,
I mean, it's not bad. It looks interesting.
I know they're going back to the darker look away from what Diablo 3 looked like.
I mean, the way Diablo, the universe in a whole as it is, it needs to be a dark gothic look.
Yeah. I didn't think Diablo 3 was that bright, honestly.
It really wasn't, but compared to Diablo 2,
It was a little more cartoony.
Yeah.
Kind of like World of Warcraft kind of has that pseudo cartoony look to it.
yeah. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of information. They kind of talked about some of the things they're going to do in Diablo 4, but
They basically had to announce it because last year they announced that they only announced that mobile game and everybody got
Everyone
real
got
mad.
upset.
yeah.
Yeah. What were some of the other things they announced?
Overwatch 2 is the thing.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of excited for Overwatch 2.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I wasn't stoked because it's mostly PvE stuff where you play against hordes of computer controlled robots.
Yeah,
instead of
there's
other
an
players.
actual story.
And that I like that better than playing against real people, to be
Sure,
honest.
but I guess my issue with it is it looks a lot more like it should have been a $20 forced update
Yeah, like an
and
expansion pack.
not like a full-blown $60 game.
Some of the things they are changing, and because some of it is gonna dial back to Overwatch 1. They've said that new heroes and game modes will be available in Overwatch 1, but I think a lot of the story stuff is going to be in Overwatch 2.
Yeah, and
still.
all the PvP stuff you'll still be able to do in Overwatch 1.
Yeah, they're still supporting Overwatch 1 even after Overwatch 2 comes out.
yeah, but I still think that they would. Again, I
mean,
don't want to
you're not wrong.
backseat.
I mean,
Yeah, you're
the-
not-
game dev, but
everything I've heard about what Overwatch 2 offers does sound like an expansion pack.
it's Overwatch 1 with a new hat.
yeah.
I mean, basically,
Yeah.
But they haven't said how much it's going to cost.
this is
either.
true. This is true.
If it's the price of a full game, they're out of their minds.
Honestly, I wouldn't pay $60 for regular Overwatch.
Yeah.
Even though I did when it came out. But
I mean, I did too, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like some of the things like I've picked up from the various things I've talked about with Overwatch 2. Like Overwatch 1 kind of basically like sets out this is kind of what happened. Overwatch 2 is going to be more like this is what happened, and then here's the time jump.
yeah, it feels like Overwatch 1, every story beat that it had was in the past.
Yes, everything in Overwatch 1 is the past and what little bits of what is kind of what happened with Overwatch kind of trying to reform itself, basically. And then Overwatch 2 is going to be Overwatch is back, and then
Yeah.
dealing with, there are multiple enemy factions that you're going to be playing against.
Like the cinematic trailer that I did watch this one for Overwatch.
There
It
are
seems
two.
like, oh, there's two? I watched the one where they're fighting robots in Paris.
Yes, that's the main one.
Yeah, it very much seemed like it could have taken place right after the cinematic that plays when you turn Overwatch 1 on.
I mean, yeah, basically it's kind of catching up to where the second Omnic Crisis is. Because, I mean, I could talk all day about the lore of Overwatch, but
yeah, we can't. Yeah, we can't stay on this topic much.
They gave everybody new haircuts.
yep,
Yeah.
a lot of new looks.
Tracer's got some new pants.
Yeah, Tracer's got new pants. Genji wears clothes.
Yeah, he's not a nude robot man anymore.
Mercy's got a new haircut. And then they showed two new characters, which one character they've already teased in a previous cinematic.
It was Echo. It's
Yep.
like this weird robot.
Yep, she's another Omnic character who is affiliated with Overwatch. Cool, more robots, but
And Sojourn, who is the black lady we were talking about 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
That has been missing from Overwatch.
Yeah.
don't know anything about her other than she has a robot arm and might possibly be like a Canadian medic.
And white hair.
With white hair.
Yes.
Yep.
Honestly, I didn't think her design was like all that cool.
But also,
It wasn't bad.
But also, it goes by so fast you really don't get a full
That's true.
grasp of what's going on.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see more. It seemed like everything that was in the Overwatch 2 leak is pretty much confirmed.
All right. Well, hey, let's try to get one more news thing in here that's not game stuff. Just
So
to kind
Fallout 76.
Yeah, no, Fallout 76 is bad. It's, again, but that's all we need to talk about.
yeah,
is
a bad
again.
thing happened again, so you can reset your timer. on
Reset
that
the
one.
clock. You want to talk about the Spiderverse thing? We could talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so they released a very, very, very brief teaser trailer for Spiderverse 2. That's going to happen in, was it 2020 or
Yeah.
2020.
I thought it was 2022. Maybe
I don't know.
No, it's 2020.
2020.
It's 2020.
Yeah, but they're working on it, and that's great. And they're going to be
Because-
adding more Spider-Mans.
Because the first one's so good.
It is.
Yes, it's amazing. And I am super excited because it is all but confirmed that Toei's Supaiderman, the emissary of hell,
The Japanese Spider-Man.
Japanese Spider-Man with his giant fighting robot Leopardon, the leopard robot, is going to be included. And I'm
guess
so
what?
excited.
Hey, guess what? The Spider-Man that basically created the modern Power Rangers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Spider-Man that's Power Rangers is going to be in Enter the Spider-Verse too, and I'm so stoked.
That was like one of the best things of the Spider-Verse comics when it
It is.
originally came out.
Yeah.
Between Spider-Gwen and Sue Spider-Man, that's it right there.
Yep. But
It's so weird that American comics is the genesis of Super Sentai.
uh-huh.
Like,
I mean, Sentai
how
existed
it all
before.
ties together.
It's very weird. It's
yeah,
very
but I just hope as much love goes into Spider-Verse 2 as Spider-Verse 1 did.
Yes.
Because Spider-Verse 1 is so amazing.
they almost
Everything-
have to.
I
put
mean,
that much
yeah.
love and care into
It's
it.
it's definitely like it's a high pedestal.
Yeah.
Like the movie was great, the animation, the music, everything. It is a literal animated masterpiece.
Okay.
Yeah, if it didn't win the Oscar that year, which it did, I would have rioted in the streets.
All right. So what? Real quick, because we're running out of time. What other Spider-Men, Spider-Folk do you want to see in this?
You know they're gonna put was that Spider-Man 2099?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Oscar Isaac.
yeah,
was the
he's
voice.
definitely gonna be.
Oh yeah,
in
he
it.
was
Yeah.
teased at the end of the last one. Miguel is his
Yeah.
character. name.
Will they put cartoon Spider-Man's? Was it 70s Spider-Man
Yeah.
animated?
The 60s Spider-Man and the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, the two different animated ones. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Is that the one with Iceman?
That's the one with Iceman.
Yeah.
That
And
sounded a lot like
Firestar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounded a lot like Fred from Scooby Doo because it's Fred from Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
The incredibly talented Frank Welker.
Oh yes, yes.
Dude, I love Frank Welker.
Oh, yeah.
But mostly his Megatron.
yeah. I kind of want to see the Captain Britain version of Spider-Man.
Yeah. One of them.
Yeah, there's a couple.
There's a new one in the comics now.
Spider-Punk.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
put Spider-Punk in it.
Yeah.
Spider-Punk would be neat. I would honestly like to see Superior Spider-Man.
Oh, with the Doc Ock version.
Can we get
Yeah.
Silk in there? Well, they are doing a female Spider-Man's movie.
They are.
Spider-Woman's.
I want to see Spider's Man, who was a one-off joke.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, his
think
Peter
we-
Parker's consciousness was put into a bunch of spiders that wore a Spider-Man suit, and he just like shambled around, and like spiders would fly out. He'd like hit his wedge shooters, and just a bunch of spiders would shoot out.
I mean, as far as going back to like the Spider-Verse comics, I mean,
There's a million.
there are a million characters to pop up. I'm trying to think of like the big main ones. Captain Britain Spider-Man was one of Spider-Man UK
Spider-Man UK
was one of them. I remember Spider-Man India popped up. For
Spider-Man
like,
India
popped
was
up for
good.
like a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's get a real crinkly Aunt May in there, just like the real old one.
Yeah. you know what would be great if they did a
Ben Parker?
Ben Parker would be good. If they did a very brief like Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of shot and get Tobey Maguire. Like
Or,
have
what was this awful Aunt May spinoff? Trouble? Is that what it was
Oh
called?
no, don't I do not want Trouble in there. That is a bad comic. And you should feel bad for bringing it up.
I'm sorry, I brought Trouble into this.
Yeah. You leave Trouble out of Spider-Verse.
I remember seeing those covers in Hobby Central when they were new a million years ago and being like, what the heck is
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Or back when Doc Ock tried to marry Aunt May.
Oh, comic strip Spider-Man.
That'd be good.
That would be really
I don't
good.
know. I would feel like it'd be kind of hard, given the time frame of the film and everything, to just not make it too bloated with various Spider-Men.
No, see, I think put a million
the
Spider-Mans
more
in there.
Spider-Mans, the better.
Oops, all Spider-Mans.
Do you think they'll actually get into like the Inheritors? Like
No, because that is convoluted into a very comic booky plot. They're going to come up with something better. But no, I am excited for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2. I hope they keep Miles as the focus.
Yeah.
oh yeah, he
With
needs to
everything
be
else,
the,
he
he needs
really
to be
does.
the focus.
Are the,
yeah.
I mean, they could work the Venoms and the Carnages and the symbiotes.
They
in
could
there.
do that.
They didn't touch that in the
yeah,
other
but that's kind of
movies.
hard though because the they just had the Venom verse not that long ago, where you had a bunch of Venoms and symbioted characters.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
whatever.
its own separate
It's its own thing.
universe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
They could get Tom Hardy in that too.
Yeah.
You know?
Why not? Put everyone in. What the heck? Yeah. All right. Well, hey, we have hit time, so let's go ahead and wrap things up. You've been listening to Nerd Overload. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can find us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram at NerdOverload now.
You can email us at staff@nerdoverload.com.
Get your parents' permission to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nerd Overload TV.
That's right, and we're also on various podcast catchers like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/nerdoverload now. If you like the show and you want to help support us, you head on over there and check that out. You can get the show a couple days early, which is pretty cool.
Check out our website. There's somebody wrote a review of Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz.
Yeah,
HD.
and it's a really good review. You should check that out. And last, we sell shirts. Just go to the store link and click that and check out some of our designs. And also, I'd like to thank David Pencil for the use of our intro and outro. You can check out more of his stuff at davidpencil.com. All right, and again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
Pizza out.